It's back!
Flowey's looking so happy about that.
Flowey's staring at your soul.
He's very interested in your soul.
So we already did the demo. Quite a while ago. You have no idea. But how about we just... But here's the thing.
So it's so long ago that I hadn't actually seen anything about Undertale before we did the demo, and now I know everything.
So for anyone who saw the last video who didn't go out and buy it, first of all, shame on you. No, but seriously, there's quite a bit more, even in this demo, there's a bit more you can do if you just restart and try some different things. First of all, I'm just gonna try to think out what I should rename myself this time. And I found the most obvious name I could think of.
I'm just like, if you still haven't bought this game, what are you doing with your life? Like, because it clearly doesn't involve playing this game, which is a grave mistake.
I like that name. Human.
I think it's actually pretty cheap on the... Like, I don't know how long you're going to take to post this, but it's, you know, post-Christmas sales, it's quite cheap.
Once again, let's talk with Flowey. So that was one of the things that I was really attracted about hearing about this game. Was that the characters would actually react to the fact that you've actually played through the things before, even if you restart.
There's Flowey and one other in particular that really respond to what you've done before.
So we're not stupid. We're just gonna avoid those now. No, we're not gonna. I love the music.
Flowey's not impressed.
It said bullets for a second.
Yep. Oh yeah, we know what's up, you little sociopath.
Gee, I wonder what will happen.
It's just such a creepy fucking laugh.
Bye. Hi.
Mommy!
This all seems very familiar.
This is like just having been to the end of the game, this is just really interesting on a whole different level. And surprisingly sad.
So, first of all...
What?
If we go way forward... Yeah, I jumped pretty far.
That was quite a jump.
I never showed this. After you defeat Toriel, you go back here. The music becomes really sad. Aww.
And now they'll never be read again, because you murdered their owner. Well done.
Good job. Aw, no more fire.
Oh my god, her table has 3 chairs at it. You'd be surprised how incredibly sad that is. No one will... Aww! Oh my god, I just realized why she has the chocolate bar.
I feel like at points we could rename this game Feel Bad, the game.
Just feels the game. I mean, if you're doing a genocide run, the game will do its level best to make you feel like an absolute abomination.
Also, they go to sleep at this point.
Yeah, you're just casually napping in the house of a woman you straight up murdered.
You get a weird message. Even where I'm at, I still don't know what that is even about.
You'll recognize the voice eventually. Oh, okay. That is creepy.
So, how do we show mercy? How do we not kill Toriel? That'd be appreciated. He's so sad because he accidentally killed you.
Yeah, just for a split second, her face.
I had to do some weird editing. Like, not all of this happened in the way I showed it. Or the order I showed it.
I can tell you're jumping around a bit.
Don't care. Still following.
It's like, come at me, Mom.
You have no idea. I know many things you don't know at this point.
I mean, you've clearly killed a fair few folk going by your level.
So the interesting thing is, playing the demo, you would not... I don't know how you would know to do this exactly. Like, in the main game, there's like a character that actually tells you that maybe you should do this at some point.
Yeah, there's those froggets, and one of them says maybe one day you'll have to, spare a monster even when its name isn't yellow. But yeah, that's not in the demo, is it?
So that's a weird thing to try to figure out.
Incredibly weird.
And of course you just... try to spare her and she's just starts to get annoyed at you. The thing is, by this point, I still didn't know that if you get to low enough HP, she intentionally doesn't actually attack you. So I keep healing regardless.
Yeah, no, if you just let her get you down to like 2 or 3 HP, she won't kill you.
For the record, I'm doing terribly at this regardless.
Like, you kind of have to steadily plow through her emotional defenses.
And her actual defenses. Of fire.
Yeah, I don't recommend trying to plow through fire. That will not end well for you.
Well, unless it's a pyrope. Then you might be able to do okay as long as you keep moving. As you see, as you continue to do this, slowly things start to change. Even knowing what was going to happen, it was kind of mind-blowing how well this was done.
I won't spoil, but I do recommend hanging onto the spider cider until later in the game.
Yeah, you should definitely do that.
Or if you have a spider, don't.
They can't go, Mom.
I'm sorry, Mommy. You can't not love Toriel. And then, well, see, so many people kill her by accident because they don't realise that you cannot. And it gets to the point where she's not even attacking you. Where, you know, if you're a real dick, you can attack her now and kill her in one blow.
If you're a horrible person.
If you are a truly awful human being. Which, you know, is what you have to be to do a genocide run.
Tried to see if the talking would do anything. It does not.
Nope. All you can do is think about telling her that you saw her die. Well done, that's not creepy at all. Everything to do with Toriel is so sad, and I can't tell you why. Just know that everything is pain. Mommy.
God damn it, this game's so good.
Because I was about to say you haven't even done anything wrong yet and you already feel like you need forgiven, but you have clearly killed people.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Yep, we've heard that.
I love this line. I know what you did.
I know what you did. Flowey knows. It's so creepy when he takes other people's faces.
The ability to save in a video game makes you God.
Well, you can reset time over and over. Shape the world to your whim. Also, you know, there's games like Civilization and Sims and all that that explicitly exist for playing God in the lives of tiny, insignificant people. That's fucked up. Can laugh. Honestly, Flowey's laugh is... I was about to say it's one of the most nightmarish things in the game, but I forgot about, like, everything else to do with Flowey.
Yeah, no, that is not the worst thing.
It's not even close. Undertale, ain't it cute? Go buy it today. I'm not even kidding, please buy it.
Please buy it.
Please.
Okay, so with that out of the way... For the record, barring that final segment, the most amazing thing about this game is that, without even the tiniest bit of a doubt, the rune section is vastly worse than the rest of the game, which says a ton of things about the rest of the game, how good it is.
I mean, the runes section can be a little hand-holdy, sometimes literally.
Yeah, literally.
It sets it up really well, and it is just a really interesting section to see once you know about the end of the game, and Toriel, and Flowey, and everything. There's a lot of really interesting stuff in there.
Though, interestingly, the characters that completely stole the soul are, like, right after this. So that...
Yeah, oh god, yeah. They were the first thing I saw that was anything to do with Undertale,
Pretty
and I was
much
just
me.
like, what are these and why are they all over my dash?
Maybe not the first thing, but the first review I heard, the first thing I heard about once the game was out was the following words: "You can date a skeleton. This is very important."
Both of those things are true.
Yes. You have no idea how important that is.
It is just the most important thing.
Absolutely.
You can also date a lizard.
Why wouldn't you want this game?
There are so many reasons to want this game. Dating a skeleton, dating a lizard, flirting with mold.
Finding dogs.
Petting dogs. You can pet so many dogs in this game.
Yes.
You can pet, like, tons of dogs. I was trying to think about things about this game that sound great out of context, but, you know, there aren't many things that don't sound great out of context. Like, you can fight an angry gay fish. You know, you can help people hook up. You get to be on a cooking show.
You can get someone to call you and get the wrong number.
You can, in fact, call a skeleton and the gay fish at, like, all hours of the day and night at any room, and the conversations are amazing.
Yes.
You can see the universe.
You can listen to Christmas Halloweeny music.
By lying on the floor and being garbage, you can see the universe. Yep. And you can watch reality unravel around you. If, you know, that is your jam.
You can have your perception of reality completely challenged.
Oh, your perception of reality will be incredibly challenged.
Or your perception of fiction, for that matter.
Just the writing in this game is incredibly next level. I can't get over how good it is. Just how well everything's written and how well everything responds to everything else, including what kind of saves and runs you've done previously.
I think the cool thing is, the thing I talked about with you before, is that, like, not only is the combat system, like, really unique with how you avoid attacks and stuff, but it not only did it innovate its battle system, but it innovates its own innovation as the game goes on.
It does. It's, you know, it sets up its own format and then continually, you know, subverts and plays with it.
Yes. It basically its own deconstruction.
Especially if you do a genocide run.
Especially.
Like, there's so much meta stuff going on in a genocide run, and also, quite frankly, the game will do its level best to make sure you know what scum you are for doing that kind of run. Like,
I only did a neutral run, where basically most of the enemies I beat were most of the major bosses. Even that was just, like, it makes you question, like,
that's heartbreaking enough.
it makes you question, why are you fighting them? This is a bad idea and you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, don't kill them. You know, you can get through the game without killing anybody, and you can get through the game while killing everybody.
Yep. I think after my first playthrough, I borderline assumed this was a perfect game. Not quite. I think mostly because of the genre. At points, like, trying to fight, especially on a replay, because this game very, 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 very much encourages replays. Trying to fight enemies you've already fought and doing the same tactics repeatedly kind of gets old pretty quickly. Like, yeah, I know how to do this. Same thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you play just a genocide and a pacifist run, then, you know, your two playthroughs will be completely different. But if you throw a neutral run in there as well, I think it's particularly between neutral and pacifist shares a lot. So it'll feel pretty repetitive if you do that. So, which is why my recommendation is just do a genocide and a pacifist.
I will say it's very interesting because, like, there are probably certain things about the game on a second playthrough where I'm like, man, that didn't work out at all. And I think in most games I wouldn't care, but because this game is so good, like any tiniest thing that doesn't work for me, like, is just so much more notable.
It is. It's just it's very tightly written and just it has such a high baseline level of good that, especially because the characters are so good, you feel for the characters very, very quickly. They feel very real very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And like even just the random minor enemies have so much personality.
Yes, they certainly do. Like there's one enemy in Waterfall where I defeat it pretty quickly, but if you want, you can actually have that fight go a lot longer, and like, they pretty much give you like this weird story. Just for the fight, this enemy, like, it's like this parody of like, some sort of like, ambitious story. But in the context of a single battle with a single enemy, it's really weird.
I know, it's... Like, they all pretty much have their own stories going on that you just kind of intrude on. And, you can kill them, or you can help them resolve their emotional issues and move on with their lives and be happier people. I mean, almost all the enemies are like, I am attacking you because of reasons to do with my deep inner turmoil, and you must help me defeat my demons. And then there is one enemy who just turns up like, where's my fucking money, bitch? And you can buy your way out of that battle.
And that's great. What else? Oh, actually, one last little thing. This took me forever to realize, and I'm kind of ashamed of myself. But, without giving it away, a certain part of, I guess what's considered the neutral ending boss, final boss, like the real final...
Yes.
There's a certain aspect of that fight that's relevant to the, weapons you can get throughout the game.
There is indeed.
It took me forever to realize why what the actual deal with those weapons were. Yeah, why you found them.
What those weapons are, why you find the weapons you did. It's there's 6 sets of weapons and armor. And, yeah.
At some point I was like, oh. Why didn't I...
And then
why didn't I think of that?
You realize what it's been the whole time.
Ugh. That does sum up the game pretty well. The game also has a lot of weird secrets.
It's just, my favourite is Gaster, and I think Gaster is one I can maybe talk about without being spoilery, because he isn't really relevant to the plot or anything.
Yeah, I've read a little bit about that.
He's a character that you have to hack him and his followers into the game. Like, you can't encounter them in the normal run of the game. You have to dig around in the game code, change a few values to make the rooms that they're in reappear. And when you talk to them, they ask you questions like, have you ever wondered what it would be like if you didn't exist? And how would you feel if you didn't exist, but the world went on as if nothing had changed? And you realize these are dummied out characters who are having existential crisis about being dummied out. Like, there's even implications that there's a mention at one point in the game that suggests that a character that may be Gaster fell into the core and was scattered across time and space, also known as the game code. So it's so wonderfully ridiculously meta.
Actually reminds me of this obscure DS game called Contact, which is a very, 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 very interesting game that also kind of played with some weird idea that the world you are playing is a video game, but is actually something that exists, like a world that exists, while still being a video game.
It's like some of the characters in Undertale seem to know that they're in a video game. Like, they seem to be aware of that.
Yeah. Kind of interestingly, Contact also had a lot of Earthbound inspiration.
Yeah, you can see the Earthbound in this thing's DNA,
Contact wasn't a very good game, but it's one of those games I really wish they were given a chance to make a sequel of. Because, honestly, when that game came out, they were actually already talking about doing a sequel, but it just never happened. It's kind of a shame because it was a really interesting game. The thing about Contact, without giving too much away, is that right at the beginning of the game, you're actually you, the player, are contacted by this professor. But he wants to, work with you, but he also wants you to work with this, young kid adventurer person who's helping him find these pieces of his spaceship or something like that. I forget the exact details. The interesting thing is that he specifically says to not tell this boy that you exist. So you remain a mystery to this kid for pretty much the entire game. And around the ending, it does some really interesting things with it.
That's pretty nifty. There is one part about the Earthbound format that is so clearly inspired Undertale that I just realized I probably can't talk about it without spoiling both Undertale and Earthbound. But it's fourth wall smashing. And it's just so incredibly clever and so emotionally powerful when it happens, because it's so unexpected, but it manages to reach right through the fourth wall and punch you in the feelings. Which I think is a good thing in a video game.
I will say it's interesting that, there are actually certain pieces of music in the game that feel like they were, directly... they almost feel like partially using, almost covers of, Earthbound music at points.
I mean, they probably are, because, Toby Fox is, I believe he's a composer by profession. Possibly making all the money off Undertale now. And he has made Earthbound ROMs before. I think that was what he first got famous for. So he has worked with Earthbound music before, and that probably is where he took a lot of inspiration.
Yeah, definitely. I think the most obvious one would probably be the hotel area in the game. Because there's a music in Mother 3 that sounds honestly very similar to it. And also the laboratory vaguely kind of sounds like Foresight from Earthbound. So it's anything that sounds similar to that, I just immediately notice. There's also less than I expected. I thought it would be a little more blatant with the Earthbound inspiration, but it's kind of not.
It's done a lot of really good original music work. I mean, the soundtrack itself, even just taken on its own, is an incredible piece of work.
Yeah, absolutely. And really popular. I love the boss theme. I think, the boss theme I really love has, over, 4 million views on YouTube. For the record, there are plenty of actual, musical artists and, known musical artists that have released singles on YouTube that have been out for, months and months and months that have less views.
It's especially, my favourite covers there's quite a lot of really good metal covers, and there's also a lot of really good jazz covers. I always love a good jazz cover, but, I mean, Ghost Fight, Napster Bluke's fight theme that you come across very early in the game and recurs in other forms in certain other battles, is very jazzy already in and of itself. But, a lot of people have done a lot of others in jazz form, and they're fantastic. And also just the fact that some people have gone out of the way to compose original music for certain characters that you don't fight in one type of run, but fight in another, and they're well, what if you fought them in... It's particularly genocide run covers of certain characters that you don't fight in that run.
That's kind of interesting.
Or rather you do, but it's over so fast that there's one in particular where their battle theme, their genocide-only battle theme, is only 30 seconds. Because unless you just sit on the menu for a very long time, you're probably not going to hear more than 15 seconds of the music. The battle's over that fast. So I think some people made a full version of that.
I like the a cappella versions of the Tammy theme. That does exist. And it is amazing.
Oh my god. I know there are also kazoo versions of all the tunes. And on that, what's that weird little musical note thing that you play music by squeezing it and it kind of looks like it wants to eat your soul? It's very demonic sounding.
Accordion? That can't be right.
No, it's tiny little, shaped like a musical note, has a little face on it, you squeeze it to make a slightly sinister noise. I'm gonna have to find it on YouTube and see if I can find what this thing is called, because it's gonna bug me now, but it's deeply disturbing and somebody has made Undertale covers with it. Oh, of course it's Japanese. It's called an otamatone. Otamatone. And find on YouTube, and of course it's Japanese.
Of course.
And it's deeply creepy. And someone has made Undertale covers with it.
Of course. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen something this, nerd focused get this many, this much attention just from, the music since, Attack on Titan, when literally everyone parodied the opening of that.
That was a damn good opening. But yeah, just the Undertale music has been so incredible. It's really because it's so much fun to just listen to.
Yes.
I've had the soundtrack on repeat for a month and a half, and I'm still not tired of it.
I think that one boss fight, which is the last major boss before you start to go into the castle. That thing. I think recently I literally listened to it for a half hour. It is that good.
The main one that I've listened to over and over and over is the main theme, Undertale, and which it's on the soundtrack it's very different from what it is in the game, because it only goes through specific parts of it in game when you've I literally can't explain how this is used in game, but it's very interesting. But Undertale, and yeah, I think it's that last fight, that just the one you can buy your way out of, basically. The music for that one I could listen to forever without getting bored.
I always do love it when games have all the major boss fights have different music.
I mean, there's particular bosses that share a lot of chords. There's one that's basically a remix of the main theme, and it's majestic. I love it. I mean, the best thing ever in a game is when the final boss's theme is just a remix of the main theme, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, because it's all the boss themes are as good as what's it called? That really awesome boss theme from Earthbound towards the end called Pokey Means Business. They're all this just incredibly catchy, awesome songs.
They are, and they stick with you really well, and especially when you notice some of the similar chords between certain not the whole song, but there's, echoes of them in each other for related bosses, and just some really, really good stuff. And it's a wonderful moment when you realise, oh, that's the same riff that was in, I mean, half the time it's about pain, because of course it is.
It's always.
But
trying to think of what else I could say without just getting to spoilers at this point.
Yeah, it's just, I have so much to say about this game now that I cannot say without spoilers.
This game should not be spoiled.
Oh god, no, you need to experience this game.
Absolutely.
Please experience this game. But yeah, now anyone who spoils it is committing a cardinal sin.
Yes.
Which I believe the appropriate response is immediate and summary execution. That's really the only thing.
Either that or tie them up and throw them in the same dungeon we put the Harry Potter 6 person.
People spoiled that? I mean, I accidentally spoiled that one to my cousin, but it was after the movie had come out, and I assumed she'd read the book.
No, that was actually a huge meme at the time that everyone would spoil Harry Potter 6 when the book came out.
I managed to avoid that, thank goodness, and then I cried. There is also... I know there was a thing round about just when Star Wars was first coming out of some assholes got their hands on spoilers just before release about a certain event in the movie and started going around as many... See, apparently the main places they were spoiling it was Reddit and 4chan, which could not possibly surprise me less. You know?
Yeah.
So, more reasons not to ever go on those websites ever.
Ever.
But, these people went out of their way to spoil people on this particular event, which, again, I don't even want to verbalize because it's really important that it not be spoiled. That you go in not knowing that's going to happen. Yeah, I really don't know what more I can say about this game without spoiling, aside from please do yourself a favor and buy it. Like, please.
Absolutely. But I think that is it. We are done. No more.
We're done now. We'll stop talking. Bye bye.
Bye.